Hey, beautiful people. Welcome back to another episode of the Good Up motherfucking podcast. I didn't say motherfucking the last episode, so we're going to do
I
this.
think you be forgetting. That's crazy.
Yeah,
but you're going through a lot,
sometimes.
so I'm gonna allow you. When you go through a lot, your brain has a hard time remembering things.
That's just going to be Deidre. You know you're going through a lot. So, welcome back. So we're back in Le Studio. We're in person for this episode once again. I think I'm going to stagger the episodes this season, so sometimes y'all will see us at our homes looking crazy, and sometimes y'all will see us here looking cute, and that's fine.
Well, I don't look crazy at my home.
Exactly. I do though, all the time. Today's episode, before we get into our topic, y'all know, again, every episode we shout out somebody spotted being good up. We also talk about the hills that we're going to die on. We didn't do that when we launched this season. Don't ever let me do that again.
Okay. Next time I'm gonna be like, excuse me, hello. We're skipping a segment. And I love that segment too.
We won't do that. But today's spotted being good up, I am happy to go first and share my people. It's actually people.
It's people. Who would be?
Yes, I would like to celebrate the Douglases, also known as Andre and Marcelina Douglas.
Are they like on their 10th wedding anniversary or something?
I think
it was something big.
I think their 10th was last year in 2023. But that's not why I'm celebrating them, even though congratulations to you. That's wonderful.
I love them. I think I'm Isa and I'm the little boy godmother.
Yeah. I wish I was them, like not their godmother, but I wish I was the child being raised by Marcelina
and Andre. I feel that. Yeah. I don't know if I would want to be raised by them because I think their children are going to end up growing up to be those people who are like, I'm not perfect like my parents.
I don't know. Their parents are perfection.
Like legit. Like Andre and Marcelina are literal perfection. I don't think I want to be raised by people so perfect.
I do love them so much. But I did want to shout them out. Kind of going back to that first episode of the season. Andre and Marcelina separately, I don't even know that if they more than likely had conversations, but they were one of those people added to the close friends who found out after the fact what I was experiencing. And they both on their own kind of sent me we're here for you. We don't know what's happening. We don't care what's happening. Like, if you need us, we're here type message.
Mm-hmm.
And both of those messages came on days where I was having a day, okay, and the timing of it was just so I just want to give them their flowers to say for y'all to take the time to give a person love and reassurance and be we're here for you, we don't care what's happening, no matter what it is, we got you. I was just thanks, mom and dad, I appreciate you.
Yeah, they really are mom and dad. When you really think about it, they are mom and dad,
and they're just all around wonderful people. I mean, I can't say enough good things about what they are experiencing, or just the things that they're doing, what Marcelina does with her work, the way that Andre shows up in our community, all the things. But for me personally, I wanted to highlight them because of what they did for me as a person. So thank you.
That's a good one. The Douglases.
The Douglases.
So my person spotted being good up actually is, y'all gonna be annoyed, and I don't care. It's my twin sister.
Hey, girl.
Because I'm still in awe at the Friendsgiving that she hosted. First of all, I love a nice spread.
Mm-hmm.
Okay. I love decadent things and everything to look beautiful and be well put together. And I'm good at that kind of thing. I already know Diamond is good at that kind of thing, but I love when Diamond hosts something because it's just always so beautiful and decadent and well thought out. Her and her best friend, they hosted Friendsgiving and the food was amazing. The place looked beautiful. It was just a really good time. And especially considering what the last 6-7 months has Diamond went through all kinds of transitions in the last 6 to 8 months or whatever. And it's just one thing about Diamond, I don't know anybody with a bounce back as bouncy as Diamond.
Listen. And I'm not gonna put her business out there, but Diamond, if there is a bitch who is going to make a comeback, it is Diamond.
Yo, I'm gonna just say Diamond could literally everything can fall apart, and before you know it, Diamond has a doorman.
She's oh, let me know when you get there. The concierge will let you up. I'm the concierge.
What?
Bitch?
What? My
There's
father.
a person at your apartment's door who's going to let me in. Like,
No, when I tell you, my dad is always, his flavor remains gassy because he's like, yo, like, I don't understand it.
the
Like,
comeback is real
it's
with that one.
it's
Like,
so impeccable. Like,
yeah,
and I just shout out to
she
being.
inspires me.
She's that girl. So yeah, the Friendsgiving was amazing. The food was phenomenal. And it was quite the turnaround from my last Thanksgiving. So I'm happy to be here. And it was just so great to like not have to cook or anything on Thanksgiving. It's been a long time since I've like not cooked or anything on Thanksgiving. This was my first Thanksgiving being off in years, which was also different. So shout out to Diamond. That's my pause in spot of being good up.
I love that.
Yeah.
For you and for her. Because, like, imagine your twin being that much of a bad bitch.
Yeah, and it's so funny because obviously for me and Diamond's entire life, we lived on St. Croix together and all that shit. And then once Hurricane Maria hit and then we like separated, we were apart for years. Like we would come visit each other and stuff, but we really needed to be close to each other again. Like
Yeah.
we needed like just being able to just hop in a car and come see each other. Like I am probably never going to live a life not living in the same state as my sister ever again.
Yeah.
Like
I love this for y'all.
yeah, I
do.
can't. I'm never doing it again ever.
Yeah.
Like we did okay apart, but I realize now that we're, I
Yeah.
was very reluctant to move down here. But now that I'm here and she's here, I'm like, I'm never doing that shit again. Like,
And here you are trying to get me to live in a different state than my sister.
you have your other sisters right here. You have me and Diamond.
Like,
you
that's why
you'll
I
be
want
fine.
to live in Texas.
You can come. You have your other sisters. You have a lot of sisters.
Fair. I do have a lot of sisters.
But you're right. Go to Texas and be with the ones who came out the same womb as you.
No, but I love that for y'all. And shout out
Yeah.
to you, Diamond. And Diamond at some point will be on an episode of this season because she's
Diamond
always
is
on at
has
least
there
one.
ever been a season that Diamond has not been a guest?
There hasn't because she's the unofficial third host, you know?
Yeah, she's also our manager.
She's also our manager, who's not here while we're
Diamond is never here for the important shit.
she's a hands-off manager.
She's
who
a remote
trusts us.
manager.
She's a remote
She's
manager.
not a micromanager.
Not a micromanager. So in addition to highlighting people spotted being good up, we typically share the hills that we're dying on. For those of you who are new listeners, and I hope there are new listeners, welcome to the shit show. We in this segment talk about opinions, feelings that we have that we are not going to change for any reason. We cannot be argued down. This hill has Wi-Fi. We're staying here.
Our
and
hills are
not-
very luxurious.
yeah, and you're not gonna beat about us if we share this. So, do you want to go first?
I want to go first.
Okay, go ahead.
I want the girlies to just leave Ariana and Cynthia alone. Just let them cry. Like,
And we're
people-
talking about Ariana Grande
Ariana
and Cynthia
Grande.
Erivo.
Yes, from Wicked. Like,
Mhm.
people are on the internet annoyed, enraged, outraged at the fact that they be crying for everything. It's a little bit off-putting, yes, but it's a little bit off-putting. However, as a
Comma.
okay, as an emotionally intelligent, self-aware girly, okay, who loves self-improvement, I kind of live for the crying.
That I live for it, but I also like I've watched the movie.
Mhm.
It was phenomenal, right?
Mhm.
And I might be biased because like I love a good musical. Like
Yeah.
bitches love Broadway. It's me, bitches. Loved it, right? It was a really, really good film adaptation, right? And I could just tell the level of like love and care that and passion that went into creating a project like that. And I think for people like Ariana Grande and Cynthia Erivo, specifically Ariana Grande, who's been through a lot of
She
like
manifested
public-
this also.
she manifested it, but she's also been through a lot of like very public trauma in the last couple of years. Like her
Didn't her
concert,
fiance die or something?
her
or-
her ex boyfriend, who like she had a very long term relationship with, Mac Miller, he passed away from an overdose. She had that the concert where there was a terrorist attack at one of her concerts and people died. A bunch of her fans
That's
died.
right.
So like she's been through a lot. So I think for somebody who's been through very difficult times and then you get this like really, really amazing experience,
that
you
she's
tend
always
to be
wanted to.
that she's always wanted. You tend to be more emotional.
Yeah,
about
this is a
it.
big deal.
Yeah.
I kind of live. I actually
I live for
really.
the crying. That's
The
fine.
crying doesn't bother me. I love it. I think the people who are online making it a big deal are weirdos, and I think y'all need to work through your own shit so you could cry more. Because, like, the thing is, like you said, they're experiencing something that they probably never thought they would.
Yeah.
And apparently this is something that she's been wanting since she was a little girl.
Yeah.
She got it.
Yeah.
I'll be fucking crying too.
I know this lady who I work with, that lady will cry at the drop of a dime, right? And I noticed that like she never, how some people cry and they say sorry for crying. She never apologizes.
apologize
She's
for
always
crying.
crying, right? And one day we were talking about it, and she said, I feel blessed to feel everything so deeply. She's like, I as soon as I feel passionate or whatever, or just happy about something, I'll become emotional because I feel blessed to like be here to feel it.
To be present and feel it.
And the way that she framed it, I was like, okay, well, shit, bitch, cry. Like, I'm not a crier naturally. I am now because life, but
I'm a crier.
Like, it's you feel shit, you cry, so let them cry. It's fine.
I like
crier.
That. I've cried in church. I don't even go to church, but
I always cry in church.
But baby, the last time I was in church, I was crying in that pew.
It could have been a decade.
I was at Thanksgiving.
I will cry my eyes out in church.
Crying. Okay, I'll be crying. I live for it. Like, baby, cry. Yeah. Crying is medicine.
Express yourself. Nobody cares.
Yeah, but leave them alone. Let them have their thing. Yeah.
I love that they found each other. I love that they found that project and they're excited and they're having a good time.
But you also know, like, I'm hippie dippy and I'm a woo woo girly, and they're always in this moment. Yeah, and everything is just so lovely, and we're here.
They're holding space and they feel the thing.
Yeah, holding space.
First of all, that was hilarious.
You know, that's my vibe. So I'm holding space for them to cry.
For them to cry. Yes.
That's my hill. And I'm dying there. What's yours?
Mine is airport themed because I just got off a flight yesterday.
You've been on flights. Can we talk about that?
Oh, listen.
Baby, you've been flying, honey.
I'm tired.
I know.
Also, Southwest is the ghetto airline that y'all think the other bitches are. I just want to put out there.
I thought Southwest, Spirit, and Frontier were the ghetto airlines.
The thing is, I used to be a Southwest girly a long time ago because I lived in Orlando. No, I lived in Houston, and I was always flying back and forth between Houston and Orlando. Yeah. And it was really convenient to fly Southwest. Yeah. You don't pay for a bag. It's open seating.
Oh, shit. Wait, open seating? Is it like first come, first serve?
You board by group and you just sit wherever, right?
That sounds chaotic and disorganized.
See, in the past, I was like, this is fine. Now, that shit was chaotic and disorganized.
So that would explain why when I'm flying my normal airline, people are just randomly getting up. Because it's like, baby, this is not, what's it, Frontier? Southwest? You just getting up. It don't matter when you get up. This is not your group. This is not where you sit.
They did it well in the past. I don't know what they changed that it just doesn't work. I think what changes in the past with Southwest, if you checked in exactly 24 hours before your flight, you would end up in the first boarding group and like really high up, right? And I would always do that. So I would get on the plane first, get my window seat, and I didn't care what was happening around me. Now they are trying to make money, so the first boarding group is like the business class like priority, so you can't get the first boarding group. So you're boarding with like the second one or whatever, and it's chaos and whatever. So I guess I just didn't care about the chaos because I wasn't living it. All that to say, that's not even
what's the hill
that I'm dying
Sorry,
on.
yeah.
The hill that I am dying on is that as the window seat person, you have a responsibility to the rest of your fucking row. Don't be a bitch. If it's 7 a.m. in the morning and the sun is rising, bitch, baby, why are you opening your window?
Because I want to see the sun. Drag me.
Why are you opening your window?
Because, baby, I'm up.
Because can you imagine you're catching a 6 a.m. flight, you're exhausted. You're like, oh, thank God I'm finally on the plane. Let me close my eyes. And then God is just on your face.
Isn't that just a lovely experience, though? Because you know I'm the person.
If you're on the side of the plane where the sun is not coming through, wonderful, great. I love that for you. You do that. But if you're on the side where the literal sun is, why would you open?
I'm gonna tell you the only reason why I don't open my window because I know people don't like it. But if it was up to me, baby, open the windows, let the sunlight in.
If the plane is generally dark, right? Everybody else has their shades down because they're tired. It's a long flight, and you just the one just open just this big ray of light.
Because I got my 8 to 10 hours.
I'm usually the window seat person, but I'd like inch it up slowly. I try to just like, be considerate. But as the window seat person, also don't be booking window seats if you know that you're gonna go to the bathroom 37 goddamn times in a 1.5 hour flight. Don't piss me off.
Yeah.
I got an aisle seat this last time. I couldn't help it. Once again, Southwest. Girl, this seating arrangement is not working anymore for me. Had an aisle seat. I was fine. There were some other things that happened on our flight we're not going to talk about this on the show. But the window seat person needed to go to the bathroom so many times on this flight. I was like, sir, it was open seating. You could have chosen
You could have sat anywhere. Why would you choose the window if you got to pee all the time?
I just love chaos. But that's the hill I'm dying on. As the window seat person, not even just window seat. On each seat in the row, there's certain responsibilities that you have, okay?
Yeah.
You need to know your role. If you are middle seat, bitch, don't be trying to get all comfortable. You chose to be there. You chose to be there. And if you're a
But
big bitch
some people
like
don't
me,
choose their seats on flights,
even
which I didn't know. I always choose my seat.
yeah.
But some
yeah.
people don't be choosing their seat, which is crazy to
And
me.
you live in life crazy if you don't.
Yeah.
Because if you are, once again, big bitch like me, you need to be aggressive about choosing your seat early, because we cannot end up in a middle seat because you're making other people uncomfortable. We can't do anything about the seat sizing. So you're either going to be like forcing yourself to like shrink yourself in the seat for the whole flight, or you're going to be trying to like force other people to be uncomfortable. And that's not,
I think it's
don't do that.
crazy that flight seats are still so narrow.
They keep getting smaller. And I know that I've
What?
gotten bigger.
I
Like,
feel
I'm
like-
not delusional in that aspect. But bitches, y'all making them seats smaller, and you
I just
you
feel
think
like
that
back
I
in
don't
the
know.
day when they just didn't care about anybody who wasn't like sticked in a way, like that was understandable. But
Yeah.
in 2024, seats still being like narrow to the point where heavier people are complaining like, yo,
Yeah.
the seats are, that's crazy to me.
Also, the seatbelt sizes are going to be different in every seat that you sit in on different planes. There's not a standard. I want Aya to know this because a flight attendant told me this. There's not a standard seatbelt size. When they start to fray at the edges, they just cut them and put the buckle back on.
I didn't know that.
So if you got on a plane and you're like, I know my big ass fits in this seatbelt,
Yeah.
on the literal last flight that I was on, it's because they do that.
They just
So,
cut them off.
but
That's
also,
so
don't be scared to
ghetto.
ask for a seatbelt extender. Like, nobody gonna beat your ass.
I didn't know that a seatbelt extender was a thing.
Because you have to fit in your seat or whatever.
Yeah.
So sometimes I have to ask for one because the seat belts are like shorter in certain seats and longer in other seats. It's
Okay.
ridiculous.
This
Anyway,
is fascinating.
yeah, we're learning about planes and
I
flights and all
know.
this shit. But all of that to say, just play the role that you came to play in the airport, okay? Classism exists in the airport and I approve of it. Like, you don't belong in this group. You don't belong in this seat. You don't belong in this role. Like, just play your
The
role.
views of the hosts of this podcast do not reflect. Okay, because what? She said classism is okay.
Listen, classism at the airport is a thing, and some of y'all need to just
really
embrace it.
is. It is.
Okay. All right. That's the hill that I'm dying on.
Okay.
And I
mean,
love that for us.
I might come over, but I don't know, because I'm a window opener.
Be a window opener, Deidre, but if the sun just peek over the horizon, maybe not. Maybe choose differently because somebody is probably exhausted on that.
No, I don't.
somebody
So
is
that's the thing.
being-
I don't open it because I know people don't like it.
Yeah.
But if it was up to me, baby, that thing is open.
I'm not regular yet because I like to see the clouds and
Yeah,
shit.
it's so nice. It's
I like to
vibey.
sing the Reading Rainbow theme song too when we flying, and I'm like,
This
you
girl
know?
said a Reading Rainbow theme
That's
song.
every time we take off, it'll be like butterfly in the sky.
Girl, let's get into the topic. I'm not fooling with you.
All right. So today's topic is going no contact. Cutting bitches off. Sorry.
You
So y'all know me. I love my definitions. I love doing my little Googles and shit. Mostly because I don't like bringing topics on here that we don't that we're not informed on. So we're learning today. So going no contact, what does it actually means? It's very straightforward. It's cutting off all communication with someone, including phone calls, text, social media interactions, and in-person meetings, essentially creating a period of zero contact with that person, usually in breakups or interpersonal relationships like family relationships, friends. And it's usually to allow for emotional healing and processing without interference from that person. So, my first question for you. Oh, and I need to add, going no contact means avoiding mutual friends sometimes. It means avoiding asking for updates about that person. It's not just not talking to that person, it's removing that person from
any chance of
your
that
everyday
person
life.
having access to you.
Exactly. So, have you ever gotten no contact? And what were the circumstances that brought you to that decision?
I love how you ask me questions that you know the answer to.
I asked it for the audience. I asked it for
know,
myself.
I
I
know.
know all of your business already.
I have absolutely got no contact with the girls, okay? I'm a no contact girly. But yes, I have. I think the most significant relationship that I decided to go no contact in was the relationship between me and my mother. I made that decision, I don't know, how many years ago was that? Was it
It's been-
2022?
It was like
No,
right after we
21.
started the show.
It was maybe 2021. I made the
Yeah.
decision to go no contact with my mom. And it was because while I love my mother dearly, we just had a toxic relationship. And the ways that she treated me growing up was normal in my eyes. And as I grew up and became a mother and also just got exposed to other people, I realized like, no, she's mean, like, and abusive. Like she did great things as a mom, and she did terrible things as a mom. Just is what it is. And even in my like younger adulthood, once I, went out into the world and created, my own existence, if that makes sense, I wanted to maintain in contact with my mom. I actually didn't want to go no contact with my mom. I wanted to just be like, fuck it. We'll just have a shallow relationship. Like I tried a lot of things to make my relationship work. But it just came down to the fact that it just was never going to work because I was doing way more work to try to make it work than she was ever willing to do.
Yeah.
She, I know my mom is from that old school of, even if you're an adult, I still see you as a child. The reason why I got to the point where I decided I had to go no contact is, yeah, you're probably going to always see me as a child because you literally turned me into a human, right? Like you turned me from liquid to human. Of course, you're like going to always see me as a child, and that's fine. It doesn't mean you get to disrespect me. It doesn't mean you get to curse me out. It doesn't mean you get to shout at me. You don't get to talk crazy to me. So yeah, you're going to probably see me as your little girl, but the little girl version of me had to put up with that shit. The grown woman who has never had to even ask you to help me pay a bill, who is respectful to everybody, including the child that I made, doesn't deserve that. So if you cannot not curse me out when you get upset about something, if you cannot not talk, like literally talk crazy to me, you don't get to be around me. And so I just was like, no matter what we do, no matter how much distance I try to create, no matter how much I try to just keep our relationship surface level and prevent things that's going to cause you to blow up and act crazy, it's not working. You want to still do what you want to do, and you have that right. Surely there's people in your life who let you get away with this. It's just not me.
Be me.
It's not me.
Literally, I'm not one of your little friends. I'm not one of your little friends. You should not tell her that. I'm actually not.
Yeah,
now that we've talked about it.
Because in actuality, it's like, yeah, I'm really, you, and they love telling us they're not one of our little friends. Well, I'm not one of your little friends.
Yeah.
And you don't get to talk to me like that.
Yeah.
And I literally, the last thing I said to her before I walked out of her house, it was yet another trip back home. And it turned into an argument. Like she talked.
So you told her, like, this is the last conversation we're going to have?
I told her that via text message, but we got into an argument that was unnecessary. And I literally she was upset that I had the audacity to ask her not to talk to me like that. And mind you, when I asked her not to speak to me like that, I was very respectful, very polite.
I remember.
She was offended by that, and that's what made her blow up. And she went on her normal rant that she goes on when she's upset. She was shouting, she was upset, she was ranting. And I'm sitting there, I'm in the room that I was staying in at the time because I was visiting. I'm in the room that I'm staying in at the time, and I'm like, I felt the same way I felt as a child when she would do that. Because if my mom would get upset when I was little, she would get upset, she would rant for the entire night. She would just scream and cuss and just everything she's feeling, she's just venting out. And everybody just has to listen to it until she's done, until she's tired and she doesn't want to do it anymore. That's how she processes her emotions. When she's upset about something, she's venting and ranting until she's done, until she's tired. And sometimes it'll last for 10 minutes. Sometimes it'll last for hours. When I was a child, I had to put up with it. I'm a grown woman. I actually don't have to put up with this. So I'm sitting there and I'm listening, and I literally got up. I packed my bag real fast. This was a week before I was supposed to fly out, I might add.
I remember that.
I literally, and this is the night before her birthday, I came out of the room and I said, when I was a child, I had to put up with this. I'm a grown woman and I actually don't have to. And I hope you have a good birthday. And I hopped in the car and I drove off. And that shit sent her, and at that point, I had already
ended it with happy birthday, by the way. Just be like, hope you have a good birthday.
Listen, that's what. Now,
to be a fly on the wall for that
reflecting
conversation.
on that, I'm realizing how, like, girl, that was petty as fuck.
That was, yeah. but
like, that was, but I wasn't being petty in the moment. I actually really meant it when I said I hope because I really did want her to know, like, that's my problem.
I'm leaving, but I hope you have a good birthday.
Like, I actually, and that's why, like, people be getting so mad at me because I'd be dead serious and it'll be like, bitch, that's so rude. But I'm like, but I really meant it. Like, I really did want her to have a good birthday, but I just came to the decision, like, this is never going to work. This is a repetitive cycle. And, they say the definition of insanity is doing the same thing over and over and expecting a different result. She's never gonna change. I also recognize that I don't want to be screamed at all the time. I
Yeah.
don't want to be cursed out.
And
You know?
and that's the bare minimum to ask
Yeah,
for.
and I
By the
also
way.
don't treat people like that. You know,
Yeah.
so it's just not something I want to put up with. So I was like, I'm done. And then when I said that, that set her off. She cussed more, and I cussed her back a little bit. Me gonna lie, like I was like, well, good. Like I just tell her about herself a little bit.
Mm.
Hopped in the car and left. And when I got to where I was going, I texted her and pretty much was like, listen, we've been doing this my whole life, and it's never going to change, so it don't make sense at this point. I'm like, I'm never going to disrespect you. I'm never going to talk shit about you to Dylan, right? Like, I'm never going to do that. There's no need for
Yeah.
that. But this is going to be the last time you hear from me. I sent her that message, and I blocked her, and I never unblocked her.
And you blocked her on phone, social
I forgot
media.
that we were friends on social media. I had made like a very vague post on social media about narcissistic parents. I didn't say anything about her.
Oh yeah, yeah. You didn't say anything about
I
her,
didn't say anything
but
about her, but
there's
just,
only two that it
I
could have been
literally
about.
went on Facebook because this is the truth. This has always been the dynamic. My mom was always nicer to other people's kids than us. So growing up, it's like you got your friends like, oh my God, I love your mom. She's so nice. She's so cool. And then we're like, cool, like I guess, but she'll cuss my.
She's great.
Yeah,
She's wonderful.
So my mom has always been seen as a cool mom. She's always been seen as like the person people can come to, and it's like, I mean, she had certain aspects of her parenting I will never take away. There were certain things that she did as a parent that other parents could never compare. But at the same time, it doesn't take away from the ways that she was not the best mom. You see what I'm saying? So I went on Facebook, and this part I can acknowledge was like unnecessary and petty, but that's what I wanted to do. I went on Facebook and I said, if you grew up with a mom who everybody thought was cool and loved, but you know, you had a more abusive experience, chances are she was a narcissist. And I forgot we were Facebook friends. And then she commented something on it, and I literally deleted the comment and blocked her on everything. And I just went to make sure she was blocked. And I deleted the comment, blocked her, and I have not been in contact with her since.
That's what I was going to ask. So it's been
that
years
night was the
of-
last time I had any kind of contact with her. And I'm not. There are things that happened that night that made it so that me and my sisters were like adamant, this is it. She said some really fucked up things that I'm not comfortable sharing on the show. Because at the end of the day, people from back home listen to this show. There are people who have great relationships with my mom and great experiences with her. And I don't want
And good for Aya.
Good for y'all. But for me,
It's wonderful.
yeah. So I don't want to compromise those relationships. You know what I mean? I don't want to paint an image of her that they have never seen.
Right.
And I don't want to put her in a position where now people see her in a way like, oh my God, I can't believe you said that to your daughter. So I'm choosing not to share what she said that made me get to the point where I was like, we're fucking done. We're done.
But knowing who you are as a person, I don't need to know what she said to know that it was enough.
It was
for
egregious.
you
I'm
to
just
do- like, I don't need to know what that. Whenever someone tells me, especially with parents, we're raised in a way to where like we hold parents on this pedestal of like at the end of the day, that is my parent. Like we're willing to go to bat for our parents, even when we don't have the best relationships with them. So when somebody tells me that they got to the point where they no longer speak to a parent, that being like your first support system sometimes, the first person like you've known, I don't need to know what happened for you to get to that point. It was some egregious shit and good for you. Like, so what did it look like? Like when you went no contact, like what were the reactions from other people who knew? And then just like, how did you have to process? Like, did you grieve? Did you miss her? Did you want to talk to her?
So you know what? I think the process for me is a little different than some people because it was something that me and my sisters decided on together as a unit. Like, we're done. Because what she said to me was wild. And my sisters, when they were like, absolutely not, we're not doing this shit no more. Like, and they even said, Deidre, if you want to keep doing this back and forth, bring around the rosy thing, you can. And we all just agreed as a unit that we're done. So we had each other's support to process through that. It's not something that I just walk around like, oh, by the way, just so you know, my mom and I are no contact.
Don't
like,
talk to that lady.
Yeah, I don't do that. But if it comes up, usually, naturally, because of the society we live in, people's first reaction is, well, that's your mom. You should try to make it work, blase, blase. So I avoid the conversation altogether. But if I'm backed into a corner where I have to be like, I don't speak to her, that's usually the first response is, that's your mom. You should try to make it work. She loves you. And it's like, I actually question if she does. Like, I literally don't know if she loves me. So I'm
Yeah.
glad your mom loves you, but I can't, you don't know my mom well enough to know whether or not she loves me.
Yeah.
You know? And
That's such a
again,
good point.
she may love me, but the way she loves is not
Right.
the kind of love I want.
Exactly. And you, as a person who knows me, whether you love me or not, I don't know. Like, people sometimes are just observing, but you should want better for me
Yes.
than wishing that on me, or especially if you don't know.
Yeah. So there's people who, like I said, I try to avoid the conversation. And then once I make it clear, like, this is my, like, my mind is not going to be changed, that's people back off. There's people who still hold out hope, like my dad. Like, you know, he still is like, any, how's things going? And then when what I love about my dad though is, like, as time goes on, he'll ask periodically. I think he probably have a schedule on when he gonna follow up.
Every 90 days, he's like, ask Deidre.
So what's going on with your mom? And I'm like, I don't know. I haven't spoken to her in X amount of years, Dad. And he'll be like, you know, I hope one day, before it would be the speech, I hope one day you change your mind. That's your mom. And da-da-da. And I'm like, I know, you know, I know all that, but I'm choosing not to. The last time my dad asked me that, it was the shortest conversation of all the follow-ups. It was, how, when last have you spoken to your mom? 2 years ago or 3 years or whatever amount of time. And he'll be like, okay. And he just kind of realizes, like, she's really not going to change her mind on this one. So people in my life who've seen it from the time it happened kind of realize, like, oh, she means business. You know, I try to avoid talking to people who are not in my life about it. Like, if it's just like a complete stranger who, unless it's going to affect you directly, I don't really have the conversation. I don't see the point. To answer the question about grief, I do grieve her sometimes. There are times where I do miss my mom because I do love her, but I don't like the way she treats me. You know?
Yeah.
So I just I had to make a choice. I'm like, my choice is to either be in conversation and have access to my mom and deal with levels of abuse that I don't deserve, or just go no contact and just process that. So this is gonna sound a little bit morbid, and trigger warning, I pretend she's dead. I don't tell people she's dead, obviously, but I say to myself,
but you navigate the world.
I navigate the world as though my mom passed away. So when I miss her, because I could always just unblock her and call her. I could always just, I know her address. I know, but I know what's going to happen if I open up that door. We're going to catch up. We're going to cry. We're going to apologize. And then 3 months later, we're going to be in the same exact space. And my nervous system can't handle that shit no more. So I navigate the world as though my mom passed away. When I miss her, I listen to the music that she used to listen to when I was a kid. My mom is a beautiful woman, a gorgeous woman. I got my looks from her. Like, it just is. So I recognize, like, the things that I did gain from her that I'm grateful for. I take opportunities to prop her up where I can. Like, one thing about it, I was not a teen mom because my mom gave me a great sex education. My peers did not have parents who were direct when it came to sex education. Some of my peers didn't even get sex education. I always make sure to give my mom credit where it's deserved. I'm a person who loves birthdays because of my mother. My mother loves birthdays, and my mom always made birthdays special. I feel bad for people who don't get to enjoy birthdays because they had parents who didn't care about it. Or my mom, if my mom had $5 or $1 million, birthdays were special. So I give her credit for that. She's a very funny person. Sometimes where, humor is not necessary. You know, she has great qualities about her, but those qualities don't outweigh the ways that she could have been a better person.
It don't, like, overshadow the harm.
So I just, those times when I miss her, because there are some things that the only person I feel I can have an actual conversation about this thing with is my mother, right? Like, me and my mom, especially, like, once I became an adult, like, I used to love, like, randomly talking my mom's ear off about, like, astrology and tarot and all that fun. She would listen, like, we would talk for hours, but then it's like, it's not worth it. Yeah. The other side of that coin is not worth the good side. So I just had to kind of I just navigate the world as though she's gone, like she died.
I think that's an interesting concept because I think for a lot of people, there's this fear, right, of, I have to continue having a relationship with this person because someday they could die, right? Yeah. And what will I feel if this person passes away and we weren't on good terms and I lose them and I lose out this relationship? But I think something to think about is if you get to the point where you want to go no contact with a person, where that person doesn't have any access to you, I feel almost like you have to think about it from their like sense of responsibility, right?
Yeah.
Like, sure, I may feel guilty if this person passes away and we didn't have a relationship, but why doesn't that person feel guilty about the potential that I could pass away and they
Exactly.
treated me like shit? Like,
Exactly. And that's what I came to is like, she doesn't give a damn how she's treating me.
yeah,
She's
like
gonna,
you are losing access to me because
yeah,
of your treatment of me.
exactly. And even like, I pray for my mom all the time. Like, she'll randomly cross my mind and I just say a little prayer for her. Like, I hope she's okay.
Mm-hmm.
And even like sometimes, and again, because like I said, I just navigate the world as though she died. My mom, her nickname for me and Diamond when we were little was Ladybug.
Mm.
So sometimes, like, I'll randomly see a ladybug, and I'm like, oh, I hope my mom's doing okay, and I'll say a little prayer for her. I actually just bought this really pretty. I like to go to Paper Source.
Mm-hmm.
You know what Paper Source is?
Yeah.
I love Paper Source. Oh. So sometimes I'll just, if I am ever where a Paper Source is, I'll pop in and look around. I saw this really gorgeous their gift wrap, the like sheets of gift wrap. I saw one that had like ladybugs on it, so I bought a few sheets because those are little ways that because
like still honor her, still express that love,
Yeah.
but just don't not having the
I just choose not to.
relationship.
Yeah, I choose not to have a relationship. But that little the gift wrap was actually really beautiful, and
Yeah.
because of the ladybugs, I was like, let me get this. So yeah, I just do that.
Well, I honestly I love that for you because I think it takes a lot of strength and like resolve to go no contact with a person. I don't think people realize how difficult it actually is
Yeah.
to go no contact with someone, especially intentionally. I think sometimes you end up going no contact because you had a falling out or whatever. But to literally say, I am choosing not to have any interaction with this person, especially somebody that you were really close with, like, that'll take some, like,
It takes
okay,
some
remember,
cojones.
don't call them. Like, don't give in to this
Yeah.
feeling because you will feel human. You will miss them. Like, you do
Yeah.
miss them.
Yeah, I'm not gonna act like I don't miss her sometimes. One thing, and it's funny, me and Diamond talk about this a lot, is me choosing to go no contact with my mom. It has influenced relationships, not just romantic relationships, but just relationships in general.
Yeah.
It kind of, when people find that out about me, it creates a bit of a fear in them.
That you will do the same thing.
Because they're like, if this fucking psychopath can cut her mother off, who the fuck am I? You see what I'm saying? There's been people who I've like been talking to who I kind of made the decision not to go too far with because it's like in their mind, it's like maybe one day they're like, well, what if we get married one day? You wouldn't invite your mom to our wedding? And I'm like, no. Like, so I have to be very intentional and selective when I'm like dating, because it's like I need to make sure that I'm very clear with somebody. Like, you're never gonna meet my mother. You'll see pictures of her possibly, but there's never gonna be a chance where you get to know my mom or you meet her. She's not invited to our wedding. Like, those things are difficult and it's very uncomfortable for people to accept.
That's so interesting to me because for me, like, I no beef with that lady. I don't know her, never met her, but as someone who is as close with you as I am, I have no interest in meeting someone who treated you poorly.
Yeah.
And I don't wish her ill. I wouldn't fight her in the street because I know she crazy.
Yeah.
But
no, she is. She'll beat
my ass. But like, I don't have beef with this person, but I still have no interest in meeting this person or trying to get you to have a relationship with this person because I love you and I want the best for you.
Yeah.
So it's just interesting that people take that upon themselves to like grieve the person for you. And it's like, you don't have to
and
do
they don't grieve it, but it's just like for them, some people just can't wrap their mind around
because they wouldn't do
it
for
themselves.
Yeah.
And so that can be a little tricky sometimes, Fortunately, that's not something I have to worry about right now.
Listen.
No, because I think I'm fortunate enough that I'm around people that respect that choice and are like, cool. If that's what we're doing, that's what we're doing,
Yeah. I don't have an interest in going no contact with either of my parents, but I did go no contact with my former best friend. And it's interesting when people find out about it because I think they think we just like had a falling out and that we'll talk again. And it was similar to what you were saying your dad was doing, where he would ask about the person every now and then. And I think after a while of people asking like, oh, when last you talked to such and such,
Mm-hmm.
and I start saying years,
Yeah.
they realize like, oh, she is
she's
never,
done.
yeah.
Yeah.
And for me, what happened was, you know, we had a falling out. We had a situation that we ended up living together. It did not go well. It went really, really wrong. And by the end of it, when this person was moving out, we had actually kind of like come to a place of like, hey, okay, this is happening. I'm sorry, this is happening, whatever. And when they were moving out, I think there was kind of like a feeling of, at some point we're going to get past this. But something clicked to me of like, the fact that this all happened in the first place, the way I was treated in this situation, the way that I have been treated in this friendship, I was like, it's not going to get better. You are never going to be a better friend to me. And I have no interest in continuing this friendship. So instead of like having the conversation and hashing it out, my last conversation with our person was the day they move. I never talked to them again. I deleted them off of my social media. Like, I moved on with my life.
Yeah.
And I think for a lot of people, it hurt them because they loved to see us as friends. But for me, I was like, I don't feel loved in this relationship, so why would I stay in it?
Yeah.
But also, like, why would I just continue to observe this person's life if I don't want to be a part of it anymore?
Exactly.
Like, I don't want to see his social media posts. And same thing, whenever I think of him, because we have great memories with each other.
Yeah.
And he's not a bad person. He just wasn't a good friend to me.
Yeah.
So when I see, sometimes because we have mutual friends, sometimes I'll see posts or whatever, I wish him well.
Same.
When I think of him, I wish him well. Same thing, sometimes I pray for him.
Oh, yeah.
Like, I do miss him. I do grieve the friendship that we have, but I have no interest in going back there.
Yeah.
Because I don't think that the relationship is salvageable. Like,
Yeah.
and it's not one of those things of like, oh, we fall out, but we still share friends.
That's weird to me.
Like, no.
I just think people need to normalize just cutting things off.
Yeah.
Like,
and it's fine because you can move on and you find other friends and you find
other
other
friends. And you know what? Let's wrap up with this because it took me a long time I contemplated going no contact for a while. And it's like once I did, there have been women who've come into my life who, I won't say fill that void because it just sounds a little like, damn, but they do just that.
It's your chosen family.
It's my chosen family.
Yeah.
I have a best friend, Alicia. This lady is probably my mom's age. Never had kids. This was my neighbor in Jersey.
I remember.
We were just texting the other day. Her birthday is actually tomorrow.
Cute.
I love you, Alicia. And I'm going to call her. But Alicia and I, like, we always had like this friendship, but it was, and mind you, it wasn't intentional, but it was almost as though like when I made that choice to like cut my mom out, it kind of made room for that maternal energy from other people. Cause Alicia has become me and Dylan's like person. Like we would celebrate birthdays. She literally was like 2 houses down from me.
Yeah.
So I would cook, bring her food. She would cook, bring me food. Like when I would go out of town, she's who watched the dogs. And even like now, like my boyfriend's mom, I just came from her house. I was just at her house having breakfast, you know, like, so I think that sometimes if you have somebody in your life, and it doesn't have to be a parent, it could be anybody. If you have somebody in your life who you're like, you recognize that the relationship is trash, right? And think about the things that are keeping you with that person. And then just be like, you know what? If I remove them from my life, I'm making room for even more of those positive things with other people.
And for all these other people to love you without the conditions and the complications that
one
presented.
person. Yeah. So just, I'm sticking around because of these things that I love about this person. But guess what? Those traits exist in other people. Let them go.
Yeah.
Let
and
them
you
go.
you holding on to the history and the potential of that person and not actually what's happening in
what's
the moment.
happening right now, and you don't deserve it. You don't deserve the fuck shit. So
you don't deserve the fuck shit.
I actually kind of live for that.
New sticker now available on
goodupshop.com.
You don't deserve the fuck shit.
I actually love that.
I love that for you. Well, I just want to close the episode by saying I'm very proud of you and I'm proud of like your resolve in a situation, but I also love that you're being loved by other people.
Thank you.
And you will always be loved by other people because you're a wonderful person. And if y'all are thinking about going no contact with somebody, just do that fuck. Nobody gonna beat your ass.
Yeah, I'm already anticipating the DMs of people being like, "Thank you guys for that episode." Like, we get those DMs a lot.
We do.
So I love y'all.
But I will say, make sure you have a support system.
Yes.
get in therapy if you're not in therapy, if you have
Mhm.
access and resources to access a therapy, because it's not easy.
It's not an
and you
easy
need
road, and I'm
support.
glad you said that, because aside from me and my sisters having each other, I was also actively in therapy when I
Yeah.
made that choice. So my therapist, baby, was shout out to Kimberly.
Go
Go
call that
call
lady
that lady
with the couch.
I love therapy. Yo,
Poor
I'm
man.
about to be like a Jehovah's Witness. Like, have you heard
For
of therapy?
therapy?
Yes.
Knocking on people's doors.
I
be
will
like,
go try to evangelize the girlies into
Mhm.
therapy. Like,
Be like, hi, I'm so sorry to bother you on your Saturday. I just want to know, like, are you well?
Are you well? Have you ever been to therapy? Like,
Yeah. have you called that lady?
I mean, because I'm just
Have a
saying.
book of everything. Can I read you the scripture? And the scripture is just like psychology language.
Psychology language.
Do you know what emotional intelligence is? I love that.
Oh, I love it here.
All right, y'all. Well, we will see y'all on the next episode of the Good Up Motherfucking Podcast. You know where to find us if you want to get access to all the good shit, like seeing us visually for the entirety of these episodes, because Deidre look fucking good, okay?
Hey, I look good, dog.
It's patreon.com/Good Up Podcast.
Yeah,
And the lowest tier is $1.
Literally.
Like, we're accessible out here. Most of them don't pay $1 because they love us.
Yeah,
but
baby,
the
y'all be
lowest
paying
tier is
some
$1.
money. I be seeing what y'all be paying. Ooh.
The lowest tier is
Thank you,
$1 is
guys.
all I'm gonna say. Okay. So we love y'all. And with that, Deidre, tell the people and bye.
Bye.
The Good Up Podcast is sponsored by the Virgin Islands Lottery. This show is Virgin Islands hosted and produced by Deidre Ritter and Heiza Quinones. Follow us on all social media platforms at Good Up Pod. Join the VIP section at patreon.com/gooduppodcast and gain access to exclusive bonus content for as low as $1 a month. Or visit our website to sign up for our weekly email newsletter at goodupvi.com.